I never imagined a simple dinner could fracture the foundation of my marriage. But here I am, standing in the doorway of our bedroom, watching my husband pack his suitcase with a calm, cold precision that knocks the air from my lungs. His face is unreadable, set in stone. Every movement he makes, folding, grabbing, zipping, is filled with purpose. No hesitation. No second thoughts. My chest tightens, my pulse pounding so hard I can barely breathe. I open my mouth to speak, to explain, to beg, but my words seem useless. Nothing I say slows him down. Daniel, please. Just hear me out, I plead, stepping toward him, desperate. He doesn't look at me. Doesn't even pause. His hand dives into the dresser again, pulling out another bundle of clothes, shoving them into the suitcase with robotic efficiency. I already listened, Mia, he says flatly. His voice is calm, quiet, but there's something sharp beneath it, a tremble just below the surface. Anger? Pain? Maybe both. I saw everything. I wasn't doing anything wrong, I whisper, the words catching in my throat. It's the truth, or at least it felt like the truth at the time. I had honestly believed there was nothing inappropriate about meeting my ex for dinner. Just an innocent catch-up, I told myself. But now, as I look at Daniel, his rigid posture, the locked tension in his jaw, the way his eyes look both shattered and blazing, I understand how naive that belief really was. How recklessly stupid I'd been. It all started with a message I should have ignored. I was lying on the couch, drained from the day, mindlessly scrolling when his name appeared. Lucas. Hey, stranger. I'm in town for a few days. Want to grab dinner and catch up? I stared at the message for a while. Lucas, my ex. There'd been no dramatic breakup between us. No screaming matches. Just a slow fade, the quiet realization that we weren't meant for the long haul. He was charming, spontaneous, fun, but wildly inconsistent. Daniel, on the other hand, was everything Lucas wasn't. Grounded. Loyal. The kind of man who didn't just talk about the future. He built it, one careful step at a time. So why did I say yes? Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe nostalgia. Maybe some prideful need to prove something to myself, that Lucas no longer had any hold over me, that I had fully moved on. Sure, dinner sounds good, I typed back. Just catching up, right? I even threw in a light-hearted emoji, as if that made it feel safer. Harmless. I should have told Daniel. I know that now. But I convinced myself it wasn't worth mentioning. I told myself he'd overreact, that it would just lead to unnecessary conflict. I wasn't lying, I was just avoiding drama. The place Lucas picked for dinner wasn't what I expected. Dim lighting. Candles on every table. The kind of intimate setting meant for date nights, not friendly reunions. I felt off the moment I sat down. But then Lucas cracked a joke about how ridiculous we used to be, and I laughed. Really laughed. Maybe for the first time in days. For a little while, it was fine. We talked about work, mutual friends, life updates. But then something shifted. He leaned closer. His voice softened. His gaze locked on mine, not casually but intently. You look amazing, Mia, he said. His fingers brushed my wrist. I still think about it sometimes. That's when everything snapped into focus. This wasn't just dinner. It was a mistake. I opened my mouth to shut it down, to remind him I was married and happy, but before I could speak, I felt it. A presence. I turned. Daniel stood by the entrance, frozen. His eyes locked with mine, his face expressionless, but the weight in his gaze said everything. He didn't need to yell. The silence between us was louder than any scream. Then he turned and walked away. I shot to my feet so fast my knees banged into the table. A wine glass wobbled, nearly toppling. I have to go, I muttered, grabbing my purse and rushing out. By the time I got home, Daniel was already in our bedroom, tossing clothes into a suitcase. My stomach dropped. Daniel, please. Let me explain. He didn't turn around. Explain what? He said, still packing. That you met your ex behind my back? That you let him touch you? I swallowed hard, my throat tight with guilt. I should have told you. I wasn't hiding anything. I I didn't want to upset you over nothing. He let out a short, bitter laugh. Nothing. Then he turned to face me. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes burned with betrayal. You really think what I saw was nothing? I wanted to argue, to insist it wasn't what it looked like. But I didn't. Because deep down, I knew if it had been the other way around, if I had walked into a restaurant and seen Daniel with an ex, laughing, leaning in, I would have felt the exact same way. It wasn't cheating, I whispered, though the words felt thin, empty. No, he said, his voice low and hoarse. But it was a betrayal. I flinched at that. So that's it? I asked quietly. You're leaving? He exhaled shakily and zipped the suitcase closed. I don't know, Mia. I just know. I can't be here tonight. I stood there, unable to move, watching as he grabbed his bag and walked toward the door. I wanted to stop him, to reach out and promise to fix this. But I knew the truth. The damage had already been done. And I had no idea if it could ever be undone.